the distance, now I'm back on my feet. Just a man and his will to survive. It's the eye of the tiger, it's the cream of the fight. Rising up to the challenge of our rival. And the last, no survivors, stuck to spray in the night. And he's watching us all in the eye of the tiger.
Okay, party people in the house.
where we all belong. There's no worries in the party zone.
Push it real good.
מכירים אותו? אז אני אציג אותו. אלוף העולם, דבון לאראט. זה כמו המסי של הורדת. חברים, קבלו אותו במחיאות כפיים. היי, אבי, מה העניינים? כן, נדבר איתכם. אז קודם כל, באמת, שוב שלום לכולם. תודה רבה שבאתם. דבון לבוא היום. לא, זה בסדר, אני בצד, הוא המיין. He's the star. I'm on the side. כרגע דבון יעביר לכם הרצאה גם בסמינר בנושא של הורדת ידיים. יש כאן שולחנות להתנסות, יש פה עוד 3 שולחנות בנוסף לשולחן הזה. As I said, you make a professional seminar now. They have to practice 3 more tables, one with you. אם מישהו רוצה תרגום למה שהוא מסביר, אז תגידו לנו ואנחנו נתרגם. בסדר? מי שלא מבין, אז אנחנו נתרגם. מעולה? אוקיי. You have your mic?
Thank Eddie. You guys can all hear me, yeah? Yeah. Okay. I want to thank these guys a whole lot for bringing me into Israel, into your country. I've only seen this much so far already, but what a great history and country you guys have. So I'm really happy to be here, get to meet all you guys. The most important thing about this seminar is that we have fun, and if you guys ever have any questions, it's the most important thing, okay? So at any point, whatever I'm saying, if you guys have a question, I promise you, it's more important, okay? So just put up your hand and we'll go there. I do have a lot that I can give you guys, and I can kind of just start going, and then if you guys need clarification, or if you guys need to stop and get translation, we can do that too, okay? Okay. Perfect. And so the way, I think that the best way we do this is I talk for a bit, we start to get a bit bored, and we arm wrestle for a bit, and we just do that until we're all done, okay? All right, so...
Not all of us.
Yeah, all of us will eventually get there. So, I just bring a small present for a few of you guys. I hope there's enough, but spread those around. Spread those around. There's 10 in a bundle. Yeah. And, so there's 40, and I think there's more than 40 in here. So you're gonna have to fight. Okay. But see, for me it's a belt, right? So anytime I'm like, showtime, right? Showtime. What's that? Oh, turn it on. Okay.
One for me, one for you.
Uh-oh. Fight. You gotta fight. You gotta get those.
I will fight.
Go fight somebody. Go fight somebody right now. So I'll kind of introduce myself to get this started. My name's Devon Laaraat. I've loved arm wrestling for a very long time. I started arm wrestling for fun when I was like 5 or 6 years old with my grandmother. I arm wrestled with my friends through public school and through high school, just as something that I love to do. I met a professional arm wrestler when I was 18 years old, and right away I was like, wow, okay, there's more to this game than I initially thought. You know, he showed me that arm wrestling is really like a martial art. And this guy was so good. I was like 205, 210 pounds, farm kid, healthy, strong. And this guy was like 165 pounds, and he'd kill me. I could do nothing with him. So I was inspired, and I was like, okay, I love this game even more. And I used to do a lot of sports. I used to do judo, I used to play basketball, I used to do long distance running, and everything kind of went away until I'm left with now pretty much all I do is wrist curls. It's pretty much it. I started off in the WAF. So I started off as a WAF arm wrestler, and that was what I kind of focused on for the first few years of my career. I was an Army guy, and I went from the regular Army into the Special Forces. When I went to Special Forces, they're like, okay, Devon, no more being a sports guy, and I wasn't allowed to go and do these competitions and be compensated by my job anymore, so I switched to pro at that time. So I did pro tournaments, got into super matches, kind of climbed the ladder, got as far as I could, like 2008. Some people thought I was world champion. Right hand, I got it with the left, like 2013. Around that time, my elbows they were just trashed, okay? Years and years of abuse and doing things wrong, and too much and too hard. I had surgery. A few years later, I had surgery with the left arm. I went down, back to like my normal weight class, 225, for a few years. WAL collapsed, okay? No more 225-pound division, and I'm trying to get huge again. So I'm back, like from 2017 till now. I'm trying to get bigger, stronger, go for the world title again in the open, okay? Not there yet, but you know.
Can tell you that a little bit.
Right? I'm trying. Yeah, I'm trying. So that brings us to today. So this is kind of the story of my arm wrestling career, kind of tight. So where to start? Okay, just so I can get a feel, who's going to the nationals?
מי הולך לאליפות הארץ, חברים?
Okay, good.
מי
Okay.
מגיע לאליפות הארץ?
Okay, so if you're going to the nationals, I would suggest don't pull too hard tonight. Okay, you can, it's up to you, but you'll probably not do as good in the nationals if you pull really hard tonight.
The national.
The nationals is in 2 days.
Oh.
Yeah, 2 days. Where are the nationals? Mona, yeah. Yeah, 2 days. So that'll be amazing. But you if you're pulling in 2 days, you don't want to go super hard tonight. I'll tell you, that's for sure. But if you're not, we can totally gas each other out tonight and have a great workout. So I guess a good place to start is what's the most important stuff about arm wrestling. It's getting to be a good arm wrestler, getting stronger, and growing a great team around you and building like a family, really. This is what's great about arm wrestling. I like to lift weights, I like to be in shape, but it's hard for me to get motivated and go to the gym. I find an arm wrestling team is way cooler than a bunch of steel, you know. You got to take care of each other. It's the most important thing. Like with your teammates, the most important thing is that you don't hurt each other, right? You all build each other up together. Together, you guys are, that's how arm wrestling teams get really strong. Kind of rules to follow is there should be very little pinning, very little in practice. Most of the time, between two people, most of the time, one person's stronger or better, and the other person is junior. It's important for the senior person to kind of hold, I think, for a whole team to get stronger together. You know, like any exercise, you guys all understanding me? Yeah. Okay, good. So like any exercise, if you exercise wrong, it's just going to hurt you. Arm wrestling is the exact same way. Okay, if you're arm wrestling in bad form, which is losing, it's only going to hurt you. There's two big rules that I follow in my life that I think have kind of helped me. The first rule is whatever you do, you get better at. Okay, it's very simple rule. So any way that you choose to invest your time, invest your energy, you're probably going to get better at it. Okay, and the second rule that I really like to follow is everything, and this is a really nice rule, I like this one, everything should feel good. It should feel good. Your body is really good to you. Your body is a big source of wisdom. And arm wrestling should feel good. Exercise should always feel good. When done incorrectly, it's gonna feel bad. And stop, don't do that stuff. Even when you're training with weights and trying to get stronger, if you're working at an intensity that's too much, your body's gonna tell you. It's very important to listen to your body all the time. Okay, so there's two big branches in arm wrestling. Two big branches.
Outside.
Yeah, smart guy, right? Why don't you come up? Come up, and this will be great. This will be great. All right. Okay, so outside and inside, and this is really the most simple place for you to start to understand arm wrestling. I like that belt. Very good. Okay, so when you think of outside arm wrestling, okay? So I'm going to make this tough. What's your name again? Eli. So, okay, Eli, we're going to see how good of a student you are. Okay, so when you think, what do you think of?
Top row.
Top rows, yes.
I don't know how is it called. It's called, but
Kickback.
yeah. Can opener.
Can opener. Hey, good. He knows his stuff. You know? Good. So, how do you set these things up? How do you make it happen?
First you start off like that, and you need to keep a high hand.
Yes.
Like, how you call this?
Yeah. Rising.
Yeah. And especially attack these fingers,
Yes.
and try to get make this part of the hand come higher. Like that.
Good, good. Now, this is all very true, exactly what he said. So there's two ways that the hand really gets higher. There's like two parts. There's the fingers. Right? When I'm trying to get higher, this is climbing, this is climbing, this is climbing. Also, my thumb is climbing. Yeah. One of the most important things to setting up your outside is this line. Yes, always climbing, always climbing. Yes, perfect. When I think of outside arm wrestling, I start far away from the table, far away. And I put it on a t-shirt once. It says, "Come to me," so that nothing is left between us. It's kind of like a trick, okay? You want the other person to come to you. And this is a funny thing. It works in all parts of life. Okay, if you can ever get somebody to come to you, you have the advantage. No matter what it is, if it's business, if it's a girl at the bar, if you go to her, she's got the advantage. Doesn't matter. And that is caused from a superiority. Rising ability. Rising ability. Now, if you come to the table, right, and you make the person reach for you, that's good. That's good. Good study. The internet is an amazing place. It's an amazing place. You want the person to reach for you all the time. You want that person to drive. It's good. I'll get you back up here again in a bit, I think. Outside arm wrestling very much is broken into the shoulder is moving backwards. Okay? Outside arm wrestling, when you're at the table, okay, the beginning of the movement is the shoulder is coming away from the center. Okay? This is kind of a way that you know that the person is outside arm wrestling. When you think about arm wrestling, it's very important that in your mind you think more about your opponent than you think about yourself. You need to attack weakness. You don't have to think so much about where am I strong. You always have to think, where is my opponent weak? Okay? Rising sets up so many things. Over the top. They made a movie about it. Over the top. It's because this strength is like, this is the winning strength in all the high outside tactics. It's important to know that when you think about rising, it's not got to do with internal. You can rise, come inside, outside, you can do all sorts of things. Rising is just this climbing ability. Often the elbow comes forward, this rise, this is how you claim the high spot, claim the top. I got this funny shirt, right? One of the most important things in arm wrestling, the rise. Train it every day, every day. We'll talk about how you train later, but this ability just to get your knuckles up, super, super important. Rising couples very much, so whoever has the higher spot, outside the strap, everything starts to fall apart for the other person. Normally they will have to hold on to you if they come forward with a shoulder, okay? Or if they slip, either way, if they try and slip, no matter what, the next thing that normally happens after rising is cupping, okay? Once you have height established, and if you're doing well, if you actually establish it, normally the next thing you're going to do is cup. And then normally the next thing that's going to happen is you're going to resist their cup, and that's pronation. And then you might move your elbow inside your body. These are like the 4 kind of steps that you're probably going to follow. You're going to establish height, you're going to start to cup, you're going to resist their cup, which is pronation, you're going to move your elbow inside your body. Everything after that is very easy. The feeling that you should feel in arm wrestling. Like, stand up for me. What's your name again?
Yeah.
Ale? So there's 2 big feelings you should feel. Like, people talk about where you're going. What I'm really trying to do is just advance my hand. If I advance my hand, the match is over. It's over. I don't need to go to the side. I don't need to pin. Advance the hand through the thumb. is over. You talk about outside arm wrestling. Outside arm wrestling very much is what I call big thumb. Big thumb. Okay? When you come to table and you're outside arm wrestling, you make your thumb big. Big thumb. And as the person tries to grab you, you hide, you run away. And what it is it's a denial of grip. The person cannot grab you the way they want. And when they can't grab you, it makes it easier for you to roll. Big thumb. All the time, big thumb. I'm going to go a little bit into what is inside arm wrestling. Inside arm wrestling, to me, is the art of surprise. Okay? Inside arm wrestling should be established before the match, before they say go. Same as outside, but it's more important with inside. And I don't like to get ahead of myself. And when you talk about any subject, it's really hard to start, okay? Because the start leaves you with many questions. Everything ends up here, guys, okay? This is really where arm wrestling is. It's in the strap. But we still have to get to the strap. In the WAL, you just have to stand at the table for 30 seconds. Okay, in the WAF, it's a little bit harder, but it's very, very important. What's so important about inside arm wrestling is the shoulder line. So who won the top 8 this year? Okay, you were quick. Oh, man, you did it again. Get up here. You're so quick. Okay, so I thought everybody was going to get that one. Did he say it first?
Thank you.
Okay, okay, all right.
One of our best.
Okay, okay.
Who won the bottom 8?
Yeah, well, I should do this.
You will go.
Okay, so
He's excited.
so inside arm wrestling. Inside arm wrestling. Now everything that I say, just know that I know that different leagues are going to let you do different things. Okay? But it doesn't matter what league you pull in, this is true to more or less degrees. Okay? And so much of it, inside arm wrestling, is shoulder line. So when I approach the table and I have more of an inside attack in mind, I'm even gonna, what's your name again? Avi. So even when I meet Avi off the table, I'm gonna say, hey Avi, how you doing? Nice to meet you, Avi. Good to meet you. Because I always want to establish that shoulder. Always establish it, because it's very hard for the other person to do an inside technique when the other person has their shoulder already established. So when you're setting up outside, very much you're trying to get the match initiated with your shoulder line intact. And the way you normally do this is from height. That's why you see, I don't know if you watch our video, a lot of times we're doing this kind of thing, like, you know, yeah. And yeah, a lot of people do this. And this is how you secure it, because the strongest movement in inside arm wrestling is this. Just drop, okay? And it's better done in the strap than any other place. But if you have the ability to drop the match, this is so powerful, this motion. And if you can get a person running away from you, boom, secure the match, and the match at that point is basically over. Okay, so you want to try and establish this coming down in the setup.
Are you talking about getting your elbow inside your body as much as you can?
Inside the body, but what's really important is this line. When you see the two of us, you'll see that the shoulder, the hand, and my shoulder make a line. Right now, we are like perfectly fair, I'd say. Would you say? Yeah, it's a very straight line. But the matches will almost never start straight. Almost never. So Avi right now has the line. See his shoulder, his hand? Make a line that go into my arm. Okay? This is to his advantage for inside arm wrestling. He might not have his hand set up correctly, but he has his shoulder line. Me, okay, right there. Okay, now my shoulder, hand go into his arm, which is it means that it's very difficult for him to come into my arm. It limits.
You're already inside.
That's right.
For
If,
him to get inside.
yeah, if you have that bone line established, it makes it the hardest thing for him to do is to bring his shoulder forward, because he's bringing it forward into a line that's actually just going to get worse and worse for him. He can come outside just fine, but he's gonna maybe expose his bicep. Okay, so it's very important to consider this shoulder hand line in the setup, and that's like when you're setting up, just always think about it. Keep your elbow inside your body. Try and think about that line, and try and think about dropping. You'll see a lot of guys in places where they can get away with it. They'll even have their elbow like lifting. Okay, like they'll be like, yeah, you get down. So the last motion is this drop, drop. Even on the go, you'll see sometimes before they say go, just a tiny bit up. So ready, go, boom, just that drop. Okay, I'm not telling you to cheat. We're saying this is a reality of arm wrestling, that this dropping strength is very powerful. And it's kind of the beginning of inside arm wrestling. And it's coupled with the shoulder moving forward slightly. Okay, the shoulder line in inside arm wrestling is kind of what, for me, determines that it's an inside move. The shoulder's coming forward. Shoulder comes forward when they say go. Thank you, Abby. So, for me, over the course of everything that I've done, I've done a lot of different systems. Okay, I've done a lot of different strengthening systems. I've tried a lot of different nutritional strategies. I've gone through pretty much all the techniques of arm wrestling, you know, through the course of injury or whatever. I've kind of gotten through a lot of them. A lot of things work, okay? I'm not going to tell you that there's one system that works much better than others. I'll tell you that there's things that I've consistently come back to year after year after year, which I consider to be big truths in arm wrestling. This, cup, and roll. When you talk about what you're doing when you're not at the table, you're cupping, you're rolling. And that's probably maybe 75, 80% of all the work that you do, like all the energy that you have as an arm wrestler, put it into cupping, put it into rolling. And this is, I can't tell you how simple and important these two parts are. It's how you win matches. Rising, yeah, it's important, but you know, if I don't rise, it's not going to kill me. Supinating, important, and grip. Okay, grip is to me one of the most interesting strengths in arm wrestling, because it took me probably over 20 years till I finally really started to understand where grip comes into play. And in my mind, grip comes into play in two places. The first time it comes into play is when you're arm wrestling people who are junior, okay? And it's easy, okay? And you can hold them, and it doesn't really matter, okay? So to me, that's a non-issue, okay? But grip at a high level, and half the room is probably gonna want to puke and leave the seminar at this point. Yes. Yeah, grip is massively important in Kingdom of Arm Wrestling, which, you know, if doesn't love it, hate it, it's a part of the sport, and if you don't get on board with it, or at least try and understand it, it's going to bite you at some point. Grip is very powerful when you have a strap. Grip is a freezing thing. It's a freezing option. And it's probably one of the strongest things that you have in your forearm, the ability to grip. And when you learn how to use that grip in a strap, it becomes very powerful.
But we don't really use gripping in arm wrestling, do we?
No, you do. You do. You do when you learn how to pull on a strap. And it took me forever to learn it. Like I'm telling you, like I didn't really understand how to use my grip until the last maybe last even a year and a half, 2 years. I've seen people use grip, and for the most part, I've discounted it. Because most of the time when I feel somebody's fingers, when somebody squeezes me, I'm like, okay, that's what I'm hitting, right? I feel that target. Because the weakest thing about this whole system is the fingertips. And if you can feel somebody's fingertips, that's what you're hitting. You just hit those fingers. So whenever somebody puts pressure there, it's normally their problem, okay? But when you are in a strap and you can't escape, it just so happens that the strap changes the sport significantly, okay? In the WAL, we have a big change to the sport, okay? But even if you're not a WAL puller, these are still facts, okay? WAL just compounds what I'm telling you, okay? The ability to drag in a strap is massive, massive. As soon as you pull a strap out, arm wrestling changes, okay? See, the way that you take somebody's hand outside of a strap is completely different from the way you take somebody's hand in a strap. When you are outside of a strap, the person basically at some point has to choose to hold on to you. And that choice is normally bad, okay? But the way that that happens is, so you rise up, okay? And if even worst case scenario, both people are rising, at some point, either one person is gonna climb over the other, or somebody's gonna choose to hold on, okay? Now, once the person holds on, then the person can use their pronation. They can use their cup. In a strap, you can use everything right away. You're instantly, who won the bottom 8?
Ryan Bowen.
Right, get up here, get up here. Hey, he's a quick student, he's a quick study. If you want, you can pick somebody. Pick somebody. He gets to pick who goes up. Hey, Beck, yeah, I love it. Hey, I love to make fun of Ryan. I really like Ryan. I tell you, watch for Ryan. He's doing really well. He's going to be a great arm wrestler. He already is a great arm wrestler. But he's fun to make fun of, too. Because he puts it all out there. He opens himself up to the world to be humiliated. Okay, so if we're arm wrestling, okay, so just post up on me. Just post up. Good. See, right away, just pull straight up. Yeah, okay, so right away, I hold on to him. Once I hold on, just bend your wrist in, and then roll, okay? Yeah. So he can use his pronation. So how about this? This time, don't rise up. Just start to roll. Just roll. Oh, see, you're holding on. See, he's holding on to me. He's actually holding on to me. Okay? When you put a strap on a person, when you put on a strap, the whole sport changes. Everything changes. Outside of a strap, this is so important. This climbing, this getting the top of the hand control, it's so important. Inside of a strap, I'll tell you, this will always lose to this. It'll always lose. Okay? And right away, if I just turn my hand, he feels it. He feels it. I don't need to establish height. I don't need to. I don't need to establish anything. No matter what I do, he's going to feel. The strap really, really changes the sport. All that matters is that the strap starts to become under tension. And once the strap is under tension, then these vectors, they come into play very much. And cupping and pronation are gonna start to show themselves. But the tension doesn't need to come from your bicep. It doesn't need to. and if somebody tries to use their bicep and the other person just does this, just drags, this is going to open. It's going to open. Strap arm wrestling to me is very, very simple. Very simple. Doesn't matter if you're arm wrestling outside or inside. Your opening move when you have a strap tied on is that. Just pull. And if you're pulling outside, you should be pulling and rolling. Pulling and rolling. And you're going to end up either in a, maybe it's going to be tight, or if the guy's really strong, maybe it's going to be open. But either way, you're pulling and you're rolling. Because this strength here, this is going to get completely destroyed as an opening tactic in a strap against anybody who's close to you. Okay? If you're pulling inside, then it's pulling, and the shoulder's coming forward. Okay? Pulling and shoulder coming forward. But either way, in a strap, this. And now, where grip comes into play is the grip is the freeze. The grip freezes your opponent's ability to regrip. Okay, you talk about this. This is very important, okay? This is a very important strength, this rise, this, even in a strap, you know, you get tied up, that little walk. But the problem is the grip. In a strap, you can kind of float with somebody. And if you have the grip on that person's hand, the angles may change, but the skin will not slip. Okay, there will be not an actual regrip. The angles will toggle around a little bit, but the hands actually are locked together and frozen. Okay? So this is really what I think arm wrestling is about. Rising a little bit just to mess around. Cupping, rolling is everything. Cupping, rolling. A little bit of supination, grip. Shall we arm wrestle for a bit? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Let's hit the questions and then we'll arm wrestle.
It's enough that one person want to go to the strap and you can do
Yes.
anything about it?
Yeah. It's really hard to stop the strap in my opinion. Okay. So there's a few ways that you're not going to get the strap. If you're not even in the ballpark, you're not going to get the strap. Okay. So if a person is not, like, I'm going to say a peer, so if they're not on like a close strength level, there's a person can just grab you low, turn you in. Now, if it's closer, okay, what a really good arm wrestler can do is they're going to feel them start to drop and do a hard pronation slip out, which is the way you kind of get the strap. And a really good arm wrestler is going to exploding hand technique. Okay, it's a transition from a top roll to a press where you don't give up your pronation. So basically right away you saw John Brzenk do it to me. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So John did exploding hand technique to me in 2015. You see Cobra did it to Giannis and ripped his hand apart in 2016 Northern Regionals. You see Mike Salieris do it all the time if you watch him. He's got a really good, strong hand, and he knows when people are slipping, and it's just, looks like that. Dennis does whatever he wants. Dennis, he has the nuclear bomb technique. So everybody's dead. But yeah, for the most part, if you want straps, you got them. That's the way it pretty much is. Like if you just commit to that hard outside roll, the person has to be way stronger than you or like a way better arm wrestler to do it right. So that's why when I practice arm wrestling, anytime I want good, solid practice, I spend it all in this. Okay, and that's why I use a thick strap too. Because when you practice too much in a thin strap, it's going to hurt, it's going to rip your skin, and it might do nerve damage. Okay, so that's why I advocate all the time that we use thicker material.
Jerry Caderet versus
Yeah.
Michael
Devon,
Jordan.
if you can,
Yeah.
please explain how to train
With this stuff.
with this stuff.
Yeah, of course.
The ones that need
Yeah,
to know.
yeah, of course.
And then a few minutes, and then they go to practice.
Okay,
If you can.
so I'll say that
Take the toys.
I'll go over it.
A couple of words about injuries.
Yeah, okay. And listen, we'll come back and we'll sit down again. We'll give ourselves a time limit when we go to the tables. We'll say 20 minutes, okay? And then we'll come back and we'll sit down again and we'll do it again. I'll just, at this point, we'll talk about injuries really quick. Injuries, big part of arm wrestling, okay? When you train for arm wrestling on the table, this is what it's all about, guys. Arm wrestling at the table is where you're going to learn how to arm wrestle properly, safely. It's where you're going to put together all your strengths. Whatever you do, you get better at it. So there's nothing better than arm wrestling to get you good at arm wrestling. You need a good team. You're going to get hurt, okay? It's inevitable. You arm wrestle long enough, you're going to get hurt. You're going to get hurt in some way, someplace. There's many places that are common. Elbow, wrist, shoulder, okay? Common injuries, and they have common solutions. But the thing that's extremely universal is there's a difference between muscular injury and connective tissue injury. And the thing that arm wrestling is known for is connective tissue injury. You're going to get connective tissue strains. You're going to get that inflammation, that pain that doesn't go away for weeks. You're going to get that deep soreness that you think you're okay. You start to lift weight and oh my God, it's back and it's even worse. So this is an interesting place to be. So I've gone through all that. I remember when I was young coming into the sport, like when I was in my early 20s, I remember listening to old arm wrestlers and they'd be like, oh, this is a tendon sport, this is a ligament sport. And I never really understood it. I never really understood what they meant because the muscles are what's doing the work. I'm like, why does it really, like the tendons aren't stopping me, I'm not strong enough. And then there's gonna come a point when your tendons do start to talk to you. And that's when you're going to realize, okay, all right, it is a tendon sport because they're going to limit you. They're going to tell you not to go hard. You're going to feel them. Tendons work differently than muscles in terms of recovery and how to improve them and strengthen them. It's not the same. When you work out your muscles hard, they need to recover. Okay, everything needs to recover. When things get damaged, they need to heal and rebuild, come back better. Right? A lot of that has to do with fluid exchange, okay? Like you damage something, things need to move through it. Nutrients, energy, like time, right? Just to repair everything. And generally, your heart has enough pressure to push the fluids into your muscles. No problem, no problem. Connective tissue is denser, okay? So when they look at your tendons, when your heart beats, that blood pressure does not get into your tendons. It doesn't. I remember growing up, I remember hearing, oh, if you blow a tendon, it'll never heal. Now we know that that's completely false. It's not true at all. Tendons can heal just fine. But what they've actually done is they've gone in with microscopes and they look at them and they work like pumps. Okay, so your tendons, when they open, the way that the sheaths all move, every time they move, it's a pump. Okay, the vessels open, so they stretch out, and then they close. And in this process, they're pushing fluids through their structures. Okay, so if you have any kind of tissue that's deep, fascia, tendons, ligaments, even within the joint structures, you need to do a lot of movement. Okay, you need to think about the pump more than that heavy stimulus. When you train for arm wrestling, when you feel good, you should think about strength, and hypertrophy. Strength and hypertrophy. So that means most of the time you're talking about low reps. 3 reps, 5 reps, 10 reps. That's it. 3 reps. You want to get strong, you have to lift heavy weight. That's a reality. But you can't lift heavy weight unless you're healthy. You can't. So if you're on the table, you get strained, you have to change. You have to be able to get to that place. So that means 25, 50. Okay? So when you're hurt, you need to find the pain. You need to find it, exactly what hurts it. You never want to feel sharp pain, but you need to feel that pain, move through it, push your body in that same stimulus that hurt it to like 50. And over the course of 2 weeks, a month, it'll come back very quick. It was like 98, the first time I really hurt my elbow. I was pulling this guy called Earl Wilson, great big monster Neanderthal guy. I thought about it for like 3 months. The match, I was like, I'm gonna hit him, I'm gonna come in with my shoulder and I'm gonna press him. And I thought about it, come up to the day, there he is in front of me, and I hit him, and then I come with my shoulder and I press him, and it took a little bit more than it should have. And I did end up beating him, but in the process of beating him, I stretched out, and so many people get it here. So many, and that's where I got my first injury, on the inside. And it hurt, just to touch here, just to touch, it hurt. I could do no inside techniques. I could only top roll for about a year and a half. And I just left the pain alone. I didn't go near it. I thought it hurt, let's not do it. Let's stay away from it. And then after like a year and a half of living with this pain, and I was young, I was like 23. I was like, I'm just gonna go through the pain. I'm just gonna do the workout, whatever. I'm sick of being hurt. I'm just gonna do it. And I'm telling you, within 2 weeks, it was stronger than it had ever been. You know, it hurt the first couple, and it came back very quick. And now when I get tendon issues, oh, it's nothing. 7 days of light work, light repetitions, and you're gonna have to do this periodically as an arm wrestler. There's gonna be times where you're gonna have to take a step back from your strength gains and kind of clean up your tendons, clean up your ligaments, and just do a block of basically endurance work where you're doing 25 to 50 reps through places that all these normal vectors that you're gonna do. But think about the pump. The only concern that you have to have is that 25th to 50th rep, you don't want to make it so that you're deep into the burn, because you don't want to become an endurance athlete. You don't want to become a guy who's really good with slow twitch, because that's going to slow you down, that's going to take from your explosiveness, and you don't really want that. Yeah? Yeah? We play? Yeah? Okay, let's play for a bit. We'll hit this afterwards.
Who is this guy?
Oh, he's strong.
שמתם לב מה הוא עשה? בהתחלה הוא החזיק אותו בצורה כזאת והוא הצליח להוריד אותו. עכשיו הוא פשוט שינה וקצת לקח את המרפק אחורנית. בעצם סגר לו את התנועה. דרך הפרק שלו הוא סגר לו את התנועה. אם שמתם לב. ופתאום מדובר בספורטאי מקצוען, חבר'ה שכל
אבל ניקולאי תותח. בראבו.
זה לא שהוא בעצם רבותיי, הוא היום גמר לי על היד, רק שתבינו כמה קרבות עשיתי איתו.
יש עם קלצטי בנערות?
שיקו, הוריד אותי, אני בשוק עד עכשיו, אני בשוק.
אני אין לי יד, תבינו תראו כמה זה, אני אין לי יד.
דבון.
הבחור שמתחרה נגד דבון הוא בחור שזכה
שובר מקום שני בסין, בטובים של הסין.
אחד המקצוע, מה המשקל שלו? 95? 90 עכשיו. מי שבקטגוריה 90 אז הוא מתחרה גם בארץ.
ויש מריוס. תן לו לאכול, יעלה במשקל. עשו הרבה.
אבי, כנס, אבי, כנס.
וואלה, זה לא עוזר, אה?
אבי, אתה יכול לא תסיים על עצמך. יד שמאל, שם משקיע. אבי סוחר את אחורה, אבי. אבל אבי, צריך לסוחר את אחורה. יאללה אבי, אל תפחד, טוב,
חבר'ה, תעודדו, תעודדו!
יאללה אבי, עוד קצת, טוב!
Okay, now I'm ready, now I'm ready.
דבון, דבון.
אבי, יש לך אליפות.
עוד דיבר רגע.
Take a prayer.
אחורה, אחורה! בדיוק. תשאר, הוא קשה לו, תשאר.
אל תיתן לו לצבעות שלו.
תשאר קשה לו, תשאר.
תשאר, תמשוך קצת, אבי. בדיוק, תנסה עוד.
חבר'ה, תעודדו את אבי, חבר'ה. פנימה.
תמשיך, אבי, תמשיך. אל תשב את
עוד אחד, עוד בור אחד.
זהו.
Oh, you had me! Why did you stop?
עוד משקל, אבי, אבי, סתם משחק.
מה דעה שלך? זאת אחורה עם הגוף.
למעלה, כנס
Somebody say go. יאללה, go. צ'יקו.
אבי, אכלת.
אבי, תהיה ברוקז, שמה.
גם תמשוך.
גם לי אין אבי, אני עמדתי שעה צילמתי.
אבל גם הייתי גולת, אני ממשיכה.
לא, באנגלית אומרים פרס.
One foul, man. Two fouls, please. One foul. Two fouls, you're wrong, man. Disqualified.
יאללה אבי, חזק. ממשיכה אבי.
Ready to go!
תחזור ליד, תשאר, תשמור. תשמור. יש לו סיבולת.
This is Moses number one.
Ready to go!
Anybody. Wow. Oh yeah.
כל הערב, מה אתה?
He's very strong.
לא טיפה אוויר. תנו לו אוויר, באמת. רק אוויר. אדי גו! גמרנו. תפסנו, גמרנו. תמשיך, דווי. תתחילו לתרגל קצת משהו לכם.
אולי נתקדם
אני מאוד שון ברזה,
Ever? Yeah, ever. Okay, I think Michael, maybe. Yeah. Maybe. But if I was betting money, I'd bet LeBron. Yeah. I think LeBron. So big, so strong, so good.
You like
Hey.
the food?
Yes. Oh my God, I've been eating like a king the whole time. We haven't got the arm wrestler yet. I want to feel.
He's junior.
I know, but he's good. I can tell.
He will be the champ. Fight Michael Todd again. What you play?
I'm gonna use everything. Everything.
You have
He's strong, yeah.
תן לו.
קילו, חבר'ה, קבלו מחיאות כפיים, What a big guy.
You guys want to sit down and we'll talk a bit more? Yeah, it's awesome, man.
Last time you visited Moscow, right?
Me?
Oh, Ukraine, where you been? Poland.
Yeah, Romania. Yeah, that's where I got crushed by Venice.
And that's this guy. He got injury in car accident, had died. Oleg. Pushkar.
World champ,
Yeah.
World champ.
Unfortunately.
Yes, it is.
Where do you live in Canada? Ottawa.
When you come close, you message me.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Teach me how to score.
Again, it's big pleasure to have you here today. We got very happy. Thank you so much for coming. I speak a little bit English, Hebrew. So today we have a big pleasure to see Dvon here, and I believe it's not last time you're here. And as Nisha said, we are happy to improve different sport strength in Israel, and I believe next year it will be much more bigger, and it will be different famous guys here. And as whenever you hear, guys, you can ask whatever questions about powerlifting, arm wrestling. We'll be happy to answer. מישהו לא מבין, אני חושב כל אחד יכול לתרגם, אז בבקשה.
Very good. Hey, you guys are all so strong, seriously. Like, can you guys hear me without it, or you want? Without it. Yeah, okay. Hey, we got some strong people in the crowd here today. Where is that young man? Where is the guy? There's two. Avi, where are you? Oh, there you are, man. He's a strong guy. That is a strong guy. I think you should have a match with Wagner, right there. That's a good match. And you, very strong. My God, hand. I wanted to touch on one of the most important strengths in arm wrestling. We talked about all these things already. I said how, like, to me, like 70-80% of your time should be on cupping and pronation, these two things. I have a little story to tell. So when I grew up in strength, so I've loved strength since I was a little kid. I think you for sure. I think he started loving strength before he was born.
Same as me.
Yeah. So I just wanted to be as strong and as fit as I could be. And I really fell in love with a small part of strength, which was arm wrestling. And arm wrestling was really what I cared about over time. And there's a lot of ideas we have about strength. One of those ideas is balance, right? People talk about balance, right? You want to be able to move your body in all ways to be strong. And it's interesting when you become a specialist, when you become a specialized athlete, you start to realize that some parts of strength, some movements are more important for your craft. And I want to spend a little bit more time just on the cup. When I started to take arm wrestling really serious, believe it or not, wasn't until 2015. I've always loved arm wrestling. But in 2015, I had a job, like a real job, where I had to get up in the morning, go to work. I loved it. I was an Army guy. But in 2015, I took a big chance. I took a year's leave without pay. And I have a family, I have kids, and it was scary. You know, you have to feed your kids. You know? So for me, it was a very interesting time in my career. It's a time in my career when I decided to do really the very, very best that I could and to take it even more seriously than I was taking it before. So every day when I woke up, I thought, what is the one thing that I need to do to win right now? And I started to, up until 2015 for me, arm wrestling grew and it grew and it grew. I knew that you could be strong this way, and you could be strong this way, and this way, all these different ways. But around 2015, I started to think, okay, it's true, but I only have so much time, and I only have so much energy. This is maybe not so important. I cut. And what I did was, I was left with like less and less things. And what I did when I first started cutting is I cut away everything until I was just sitting on the couch. No, I didn't cut away everything. But I cut away everything until I was only doing cup. That's it. I did cupping 3-4 times a day for 4 months. That's the only exercise that I did. Before breakfast, before lunch, before supper, before I went to bed. And I had some of the best gains of my life. And what I realized was that a lot of the ideas that are told to you as sportsmen and as athletes, you can challenge and you can kind of play with, and you can realize that all the rules that you're told, they probably aren't real. They probably aren't really real rules. And you can, as long as you follow the rules of always feel good, whatever you do you get better at, you're going to be safe. Cup is so important. Okay, so these are, hey, where's Misha? Hey, look at these tools, hey? Everybody buy tools from Misha. I do this every day, okay? Every single day I do exercises like this, similar to this. Okay, it's very simple. When we arm wrestle, you feel your wrist get bent back, it's not good. Your wrist doesn't get bent back, you control the other person's pronation, you probably control their arm angle, it's a great place to be. So this strength is very important. Now, the vector that I do this, I normally do everything pulling a person away from their body. I very rarely go to the side. Normally everything is pulling a person straight away from their body. Because the most dangerous thing you can have happen to you is to pull the match away from your center, right? Whatever you can control out here, you can control better. This is what you control the most, right? You want to bring everything close to you, and you want your opponent to be far away from himself. The cup is one of the major things that dictates that. So, when you think about cup, you want to think about, when you exercise, you want it to feel just like arm wrestling. You want it to feel as similar as possible. This is a great grip, okay? Fantastic grip. One of the reasons why this is great is it's independent from grip. Gripping and cupping, in my mind, although they're both really important parts of arm wrestling, they kind of work independently. Just your ability to bend it in like this is going to feel exactly like a person who's trying to break your hand open. When you do it, a lot of people, right away, they're going to grab like this, okay? If you ever do this, if you ever see somebody doing this, I have a lot of questions for them, okay? Like, this to me, I'm never going to arm wrestle somebody like this, okay? It's never going to look like this. Nobody's thumb is that big, okay? Not even Dennis. Not even Levon, okay? You can make a special Levon hand. Yeah. That's close, okay? Maybe Levon. If you're arm wrestling Levon, you can grab him like this. But for the most part, what you want to do is you want to arm wrestle like this, okay? And another big thing that you're doing when you arm wrestle is you want to be past the person just a little bit, okay? So when you get your grip, right, you're going past, and then you block, okay? So you don't ever grab, even with this. See how this is all connected? This is all connected. See that? Shouldn't be like that. there should be a pocket. Okay, there should be a pocket there. You create a pocket. And then you work from here. Okay? Work from that pocket. All right? All these tools are great, and you should play with all of them. This is fantastic. All these cupping devices, they should be a part, really, of every single workout that you do. Different rep ranges. When you feel good and healthy, you should work threes. Threes. Do a block of threes, do a block of tens. Do a block of threes, do a block of tens. You get hurt, don't stop. Switch your rep range. 25, 50. Keep the blood moving. Keep the nutrients flowing. Okay, 25, 50 won't hurt. Okay, and I'll let your tendons heal. Shark stops moving, it dies.
It's true, man.
Yeah. If you hurt, it's just, it's a good excuse. It's a good time for you to develop your tendons. You're not going to get weaker. You're gonna maintain. And when your body's tendons are healthy again, boom, whole new level. Whole new level.
Dvon, I would like to ask you
Yes.
something. If nobody asks you, so I would like to ask you, how much is important to do base strength exercise for arm wrestling?
Like-
I'm talking about deadlift, squat, and bench press.
It's really interesting to me, and I'll tell you
I
that.
never had opportunity before ask
Yeah.
such a professional guy as you.
So, it's not a straightforward answer. I'll say that at the highest level, especially when you talk about a weight category, not that important,
Okay.
in my opinion. Okay, what's really so what we have in our sport is basically all knowledge is kind of secured through victory, right? When somebody's winning, it's like that's the truth. Right?
Right.
And we have examples. Most of our champions, they don't have great squats, they don't have great deadlifts.
What do you think about, especially about Dennis and Levon?
Dennis Levon are total monsters, okay? They're some of the very best. And I'll say that they're in the open weight division, okay? And I think that there is more reason when you're an open weight champion to work your whole body. Okay, I think that there's a lot of good reasons to go that way, but I don't think that even Dennis and Levon do a lot of that. I don't think that they do a ton. I think that most of their energy still goes into the core movements of arm wrestling.
Upper body.
Yeah, very much upper body, very much from here. So in arm wrestling, it's like most important, least important. Right? And the thing is really like when it comes to arm wrestling, by the time you get to here, okay, outside of this, it's, not worth a ton. We have some specific examples which are very interesting to me. I don't know, you know Oleg Zok?
Yeah.
Okay, so Oleg,
I don't know in person, but I saw
right,
on
but you
YouTube.
see this guy, right?
Yeah.
So Oleg Zok is one of our greatest champions. And basically Oleg is a hand, a forearm that's just and this guy is
Just one, left or
Yeah,
right?
just left.
Left.
it's left. But it shows you how important the hand is because the rest of his body is really very normal.
Normal, yeah.
Just normal. And he's completely dominant in his weight category, all the way up to this 176-pound guy is, at one point before the accident, he was probably the best guy on the planet.
Yeah.
You know, maybe Dennis would have beat him, but still, like, he's in the conversation to be the best person on the whole planet. What's that? You beat him. Yeah, but I beat him when he was just a baby. I beat him when he was like 12. You know, by the time he was, before his accident, I don't think I would have beat him, to tell you honestly. Like, I think that when I beat him, I think before his accident, he probably gained another 30 or 40%. I think he was really amazing.
Yeah, because he beat Pushkar. Pushkar was number one, and then he beat him.
Right. So, yeah, no, but I think that before his accident, he would have been favored. I don't know. I mean, I might have beat him, but I think that he, at that point, was probably the best guy on the planet, except for maybe Dennis. Yeah, Dennis. But, yeah, so I think when you think about, as an arm wrestler, you have to think, what are you being exposed to? you're being exposed to pressures on the table. And for the most part, it really comes down to what's going on here. I think that there's arguments for working your whole body to benefit your health and to benefit, I think that's the big reason. Just your overall health, overall ability to do things quickly. And I think that there's a whole lot of things that tie together, which nobody really ever fully understands, that those lifts can help with.
What does it switch you to start to do completely only arm wrestling?
If you switch and become doing only arm wrestling,
did you switch before something, or you just start immediately to do arm
so
wrestling?
I've always loved arm wrestling. My whole life I loved arm wrestling. I did a lot of sports. Okay, I did basketball at a pretty high level. I was a fighter. But the main thing I did is I was a soldier. Okay, so I had to be able to move and run
Where
around.
did you serve?
I did 20 years in Canada.
Wow.
Yeah, great time in my life. But that was a big influence on my fitness and how I stayed in shape. But the more I focus on just arm wrestling, the more I feel like this. Outside of that, it's like everything else kind of fades away. Yeah, very important. Yeah. I think it changes as you get older, though.
Yeah, unfortunately.
What is your take on grippers?
Okay, so grip is a big part of arm wrestling. I used to do a lot of grippers. The thing is with grippers is while they're very convenient, and while they, you can go in the car, you can travel with them, and they're easy, I don't think that they're as good as using a very small spinning handle on a cable. I think that this is the best thing because it actually ties to something the way that the pressure actually will tie. Most of the time when you use these thick grips, okay, this is very much cupping, right? Everything we do here, the first thing that's going to go is my wrist is going to bend back. Okay, basically no matter what I do with this thing, my wrist is going to fail, my cup is going to fail. The smaller you go, all the way down to, you could if you wanted, if you had gloves or something to protect you from the pressure.
It doesn't seem to take.
I mean, you could go all the way down to this, right? And if you go with this and just pull it, okay, have gloves because it's going to hurt your bones because you're going to get heavy. But just a straight pull, your hand eventually will become unhinged, okay? And I prefer to train my grip in a manner like this. It's almost like a standing deadlift. So instead of deadlifting from the floor as an arm wrestler, one of the moves is you're just going to pull that thing. Just pull it as hard as you can. And that's going to tie in your grip, okay? So the more you reduce the size of the thing that's spinning, your numbers are going to go up, and you're going to start to hit something that's like almost a different move. Okay, it's not as much hand control, but the truth is when you arm wrestle, if you can move a guy across the table, it's worth a lot, and you can accomplish that with this kind of a strength. And I prefer this to a gripper. Yeah. Yeah, I'll try to next break. Yeah, I'll try.
Try to get as low as possible.
Yeah.
Sure, Mike. What
do you think about the rules of today? If it's less happy than 20, 30 years ago, because every year it's more and more stronger, not move, not breathe, not. If this was happening there in the past.
You're talking about the rules, how strict they are?
Yeah.
The rules in arm wrestling are interesting to me. So I used to be a WAF athlete. I've gone through pretty much all the leagues. I've pulled in the PAL. Right now I'm in the World Arm Wrestling League. I've pulled for independent promotions. Basically, on the far edge, you have WAF, okay? And all the way, the farthest I've gone in terms of no rules is The Chinese one? Yeah. Oh, arm sumo. Yeah. Japanese. Hey, well, there's freedom. Freedom is even more wild. But game of arms. So I did a game of arms. There was very little rules as well.
What do you think more?
I understand. I understand your question.
If this lost the
Okay, I'm not a fan of strict rules. I'm really not. Everything that I push, like I push a league called Freedom, and it's not even very well known yet. I really think that arm wrestling in its highest form, in its most pure form, you don't even need a referee. Okay, I want to take power away from the referee at every single opportunity.
Free arm wrestling.
Freedom. I'm a big. I'll promote freedom a lot, but what I think is important is that that our arm wrestling, as an arm wrestling culture, we understand that it's about two people. It's about two people, and the referee is just there to facilitate a pin between these people. It's very difficult to be a good referee. A good referee has to know, like a really great referee should know what not to call. That's the hard thing. When you follow the rules to the exact letter of the law, you're gonna take a lot of matches, a lot of great matches away from everybody. When you, as an arm wrestling referee, are okay with letting some things go, yes, you will be criticized at times, but you are going to allow beautiful matches to unfold. So I understand why WAF does what they do, and I think that they need to continue to do that. I think that it's very important that arm wrestling be allowed to unfold in different places and in different ways. We have WAF. We know what WAF is. It's important that WAF remains true to what it is. It's important that we have WAL. It's important that we have PAL. It's important that we have independent promotions. And we understand what all these different things mean. And the bottom line is we're going to know which one is good by which one starts to generate the most money, which one generates the most fans, and which leads to the most growth. And I think that the more are doing good, the more they're all going to lift each other. But you won't see me at WAF in a while. If we get in the Olympics, I'm in. But until then, WAL. Yeah.
What are your thoughts on Bart Wood?
I love Bart. Actually, is the camera running? I hate Bart Wood. I hate him. He's so mean to me. Bart's the best referee in the world, okay? He's dealing with the most difficult people in all of arm wrestling, okay? Every single person in the WL is unmanageable, okay? There's not a person on the roster that does what they're told. The cameras are rolling. He's under more pressure than anybody. He does a fabulous job. One of the things that Bart does so well is not calling every single little teensy-weensy thing, because it lets beautiful matches happen, okay? And I believe that if you go back and watch all the WAL matches, if you watch all of them, I think that most people will agree that the right person won, okay?
The moment with Botoletto that, with Wagner, that you said, no, let him continue, right?
Yeah.
So that's a counterexample or something, no?
It's okay. Look, when I say let him continue, Bart stops the match, it's no big deal. It's no big deal. I did that with Dave too. I tried to but I think that if you're a referee, if you're one of those brave people who decides to be an arm wrestling referee, just know that at least 50% of the people out there are going to hate you. That's just 85%. Yeah, probably 85.
25%.
Yeah, nobody gets as much hate as an arm wrestling referee, except for maybe the person who does the arm wrestling rankings. Okay, it's a difficult job, and I think that the problem is when you're a WAF referee, you try to be perfect, and being perfect is really impossible. It's impossible. And I think if you're a good referee, if you're hitting like you know, a consistent 60, 70% all the time, you're normally going to call the match right. You know, you get the major infractions, you let the little stuff kind of go for the most part, unless they're actually impacting the match. Yeah, Bart Wood is the best referee in the world, in my opinion.
Who?
Except for I hate him. I hate him. Bart. Yeah.
The only one.
Yeah, he's the referee. Yeah.
I don't like him.
Steroids. I want to hear your opinion about it.
Steroids in sport is, I think we live in a very interesting time. I think that the movie Icarus has very much shifted perception about steroids in sports. My view on steroids over the years has changed a lot based off of just all the data that I've seen. I think that the most difficult thing to do in sports is actually enforce. You think it's hard to be an arm wrestling referee? Oh my God, I couldn't imagine being WADA. I couldn't imagine it. It's a very difficult job. I think if we fast forward 20 years, maybe not even, I think that it's just going to be more of an understanding of what people are taking and what they're not, and what it leads to in performance. I think that the best thing, and I don't want to misguide anybody. I think that the best way to live is healthy and natural, and eat good, sleep well, be healthy. Everything comes at a cost. Okay.
Healthy and wealthy.
Healthy and wealthy. That's it. The truth is at the elite levels of any sport, people are doing everything, everything they can to achieve a goal. This is the reality. Like, I think if you went back 20, 30 years, 50 years, 100 years, it doesn't change. People always do everything they can to be as good as they are in any field. I don't care what it is, if it's business, if it's race car driving, if it's farming, you know, and for some reason there's ethical lines that are sometimes brought into it, which is understandable because we all believe that deep down drugs are bad, right? This is something that we're raised to believe. But I think that as we move forward, we see that if you're playing smash-up derby, sometimes you need a doctor to help you afterwards, okay? So I think that the most important thing is that people continue to educate themselves in any field that they choose and be safe. Yeah.
Do you have any tips to make people want to arm wrestle you? Because many people, I mean, you tell them let's arm wrestle and they're like, leave me alone. I mean, you know what? I mean, it keeps happening. I mean, do you have any like psychological trick
to make people arm wrestle you?
Yeah, just not money, by the way.
Well, I think that the main way to make people arm wrestle you is to show how much fun it is. And a lot of times people see arm wrestling as a competition. And while a lot of times it is a competition, the best way to bring people in is to make it not a competition. Just to make it a workout. The best thing you can do is both benefit each other, right? If I know that I'm going to win or lose, and if I think I'm going to lose, I maybe don't want to do it. But if I know that I'm going to have an experience that's going to make me better, I'll probably want to do that, right? So I think that that's the way you have to present it. This is something that's going to make you a better person. This is going to make your arms stronger. You're going to learn something new. And the knowledge that you get from doing this, you're going to be able to win more likely against the next person and maybe, you know, win something. Yeah. Yeah. A hot dog, maybe. Joe Rogan? I don't know. I don't know if Joe Rogan is into arm wrestling yet. I think that. Yeah, I mean, arm wrestling. I know, but I think that every single person in the world who's good at anything, I think that they want to get that person on Joe Rogan. I'll quickly go over it. You know, for the first, 12, 24 hours, I'll kind of check up on it a bit. just to see what the overall flavor is, and then I kind of let it go. I'm addicted to my phone a little bit, so I try not to, but when I'm working out, I have time between sets, I'll play on YouTube a bit, yeah.
Let me ask you, one of the brothers of Lawless, he used to be
Yes.
arm wrestler?
Yeah.
Because he beat Eddie Hall, I
Yeah.
saw it.
Lawless. Yeah, I know exactly. Yeah.
And I was, maybe it's like a show, but some guy told me, no, he was a real arm wrestler.
Yeah. So Lawless, I don't think I've actually met Lawless, but I know Lawless very well.
I haven't met either, but
So Lawless is Latvian, right?
yes.
Yeah. So
But
Lawless,
he lived in Ireland.
right.
Yeah.
But I think that Lawless actually started out as an arm wrestler.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I
And
think-
after he switched to strongman.
That's right. And I heard he's really good. Like I heard that if he became arm wrestler,
Yeah.
he's good. He's going to be right in there with all of us.
What do you think about Canadian Jean Caron?
JF.
Jeff.
Yeah, he's great. Yeah, he's awesome.
You know him in person?
Yeah, I've worked with him a couple times.
I met him one time in the US and second time in Australia, in Melbourne.
He's getting stronger.
Yeah. He's good in deadlift.
Yes, he is. Yeah.
He's not such heavy.
No, but he's. I think this year I saw him last year and he was strong.
Last Arnold, he got injured. He didn't compete in final. He tore his lats, I think.
I think that there's a lot of opportunity for strongman arm wrestling crossover. I've worked with a lot of strongmen, and you guys are all so big and so strong everywhere.
Me, unfortunately, I'm strong in the lower body. My upper body not so strong.
Yeah, not so strong, guys. Not so strong. You guys are all so strong everywhere.
Dennis, he was powerlifter.
Yeah.
And after he switched to arm wrestling.
Actually, I think that Dennis actually started arm wrestling.
Started arm wrestling.
And then
Switched to powerlifting.
Yeah, and then strongman, and then came back.
Came back, yeah.
Yeah, and I think that anytime you get that arm wrestling in early, then it's really easy to come back. Because
It's
then you're
early.
right. Yeah, but I've seen the thing is with strongmen is you guys sometimes get really big. Okay, like can you elbows?
Almost, almost.
All right. So one of the things in arm wrestling is you want to be able to get tight.
Tight and flexible.
You want to, but you also want to be strong.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so it's like this balance. Like you want the ability to be nice and tight, but you also want to be strong. So as a strong man, once you start to figure out how to get tighter, and you can maintain that strength, that's when guys get
Are you
dangerous.
do shoulder presses, all this kind of stuff for your shoulder or no? No.
I used to.
Used to.
I used to, and now I'm very focused. And
What's your best ones for military press, for
oh,
shoulder
it's
press
so
when you're sitting on the
unimpressive.
chair?
It's so I'm embarrassed to talk about these numbers with you. Like, my best bench press ever was like 365.
How much is it in kilos?
Bench press, it doesn't bother. For you important your shoulder. That's why I asked you.
Okay, so like I remember like a clean and jerk,
Clean and jerk.
like 275.
1 to 5 kg.
Yeah, so you know, nothing really impressive. So that those numbers should tell you that they don't really matter a ton.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Yeah. Like it's so much. Yeah.
But you do 80 kilo biceps.
Right. This is
You should.
important.
Left row with foot
Yeah,
press.
that's an important lift. Yeah.
Nobody bought it. Right?
When are we getting hook training?
Okay, so I totally destroyed my elbows, okay? My elbows are like cracked beyond belief. I found that as cool, so when I started arm wrestling, like under the guidance of a really good pro, I was 18, okay? So the guy who taught me, he said one of the most important lifts is this way, this way, this way, okay? And so I did that every single workout, basically. It was my main lifts. And I got to a point where I was lifting like really heavy weight in this lift. And it was really beneficial. But I'm gonna tell you that if I could go back in time, if I could go back and teach that 18-year-old, I wouldn't do that lift. I wouldn't do it. I would do it like a tiny bit. I don't think it's as important. And I think that the mechanics on it are a little bit poor.
Should I
Because,
stop practicing it? Should I stop?
Listen, I am very biased. It's hard for me to see the world outside of my own viewpoint, okay? But I believe, from where I'm sitting, everything that I know, that I don't think that that's going to win as many matches as something like pronation, okay, and cupping, okay? I think if you could get really strong at this lift, okay? So wrap around the thumb, okay? Very simple. Tie this to a whole lot of weight, you know, and you have the ability to like this. It's more important. It's more important because this, you're here in the match. Oh, very clumsy. Okay, so this is where you start. Okay, I don't want to retreat. 3 rules of arm wrestling. Does anybody know the 3 rules? What's the rule number 1? Hey?
Straps.
Straps, that's a good, that's good. The first rule of arm wrestling is be strong. Super simple. Be strong in these fundamentals. Okay, be strong in the fundamental movements of arm wrestling. Fundamental movement of arm wrestling is come to the table, hand up, cup your wrist in, pronate, and stabilize through internal supination strength, okay? If you can take the match and it looked like this, it's perfect. Perfect, okay? This is perfect. This is what being strong in arm wrestling is. Up, cup, roll, inside the body. Second rule of arm wrestling, don't fight a losing battle. Right? So that means 2 people come together and they both follow rule 1. Well, only one of them is actually going to be stronger. It doesn't mean that guy always wins. Sometimes the weaker person is going to win if they arm wrestle properly and well. You have to be able to let things go. You have to be able to let go of some things and change the direction. Okay? Now, when it comes to this lift, this hook training lift, it's a great strength, but it's a supinated strength, okay? And it's a strength that doesn't activate until somebody lands on your bicep. And in my opinion, a good arm wrestler is never going to land on your bicep. A good arm wrestler is going to always go, definitely in part. Okay, they're going to attack weakness. And when you have a bicep that can get really strong, there's no way any smart arm wrestler is going to go anywhere near it. Okay? But there are strengths that are unavoidable. Like you cannot get away from them. You can't get away from this. You can't get, it doesn't matter what you do. It's going to feel it. Right? So these strengths, I try and focus more now on the strengths that I know are unavoidable. This strength is only, it's a defensive position. If you don't cup in, you don't get an opportunity to use it. It's a very, I call it like a sexy lift, okay? I'd love to be able to do it. When I start getting up to like, well if I start to get up to numbers like 180-pound belt roll like this, believe me, that's worth more. That's worth more. So for like a young guy, I'd be like, man, just get strong like this. Hook training 3, super cool. Belt roll 3 is going to win you a world championship today. You know? Yeah.
In one of your seminars, you mentioned fish oil.
Fish oil, yeah.
Any other tips of
for inflammation?
Tastier tips.
Taste your tip. What do you do for tendonitis?
Just take.
Curcumin. Yeah, we take. So this is a question that always comes up for arm wrestlers because we have a ton of it. I don't know how much you guys get in strongman.
I take a lot.
A lot, yeah.
A lot.
Yeah.
You know what happened in 2008 my left knee? I tried to squat over 600 kg, 1,300 pounds.
How much?
Just bent over.
Yeah.
And three ligament I tore, and 2 ligament we switched from cadaver, from dead body to left.
Wow,
yeah.
that's awesome.
After I got healed.
Hey, did you know the guy?
Never. It was in Ohio,
Ah,
Columbus.
hopefully they were strong. Yeah. How do you feel now?
I just did last year 5 to 5 raw with knee reps. I mean, so even Andre gave me a good congratulations video, sent me.
Yeah.
Andre Malanichev,
Yeah.
and I was happy. I never was, except if after with kind of injury, I was able to get to such a strong shape. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
yeah.
it's everything on your mind. That's it.
Tendonitis for me, I mean, nutrition, I think if you're eating good food, add fish oil,
Fish oil, yeah.
glucosamine, curcumin, vitamin C, movement. For me, the big thing is movement. You're gonna heal your tendons quicker with movement than you will rest. I think you need to really pump the nutrition through them. Yeah.
What do you think about John Brzezinski on there?
I think John Brzezinski is the favorite to win the 95 kilo. I think his biggest threats are Angarbayev. I think that when Angarbayev goes back to 95 kilo, I think that he's going to be definitely one of the favorites to win the whole thing, as well as Oleg, what's his? Petrenko from Ukraine. I think that those three are the most exciting guys for me in the category that I know. Oh, and there's one more guy. Where is he? No, he's here in the room right now. Where are you?
Nikolai.
Yeah, that's the guy. That's the guy who's gonna win. He's gonna beat John Brzezinski this year. I think John is the guy. I think John has done more in the sport than anybody. I think that guy, if he shows up healthy, is super dangerous. Every time I have the opportunity to bet, I'll probably bet on John. Yeah.
You talked earlier about federations and the arm wrestling difference. What do you think about look forward 5 years ahead? Why do you think where the sport?
Yeah, it's very interesting. When I look forward,
the Olympics going to be involved? You think?
Pardon me?
The Olympics going to be involved
Yeah.
in sports? You think?
I think the Olympics has been a dream that all sports chase for a long time. I think that it's a big piece to any kind of sport. I think that it's one of the highest goals of our sport, especially when you look at the amateur side, when you look at the government side. Yeah, it's a massive piece. I think that when we do kind of start to crack that Olympic piece, I think that it's going to be cracked first through the para side. And a lot of indications show that we are continuing to move forward and to get closer. Isn't that true?
I will answer it.
Yeah.
If you may.
Yeah, of course. I'll get back to the rest of it, but...
שאלת לגבי האולימפיאדה. אני, לפני 30 שנה, אמרו לי שנה הבאה יש אולימפיאדה. אמרו לי, כל שנה. דבר, יש פה כמה וטרנים. אמרו לנו. עכשיו אני יכול להגיד לכם, בוודאות, ב-2022, הפאר-אולימפי ייכנס לאולימפיאדה, קודם כל, פאר-אולימפי, יהיה ייחתם, ולאחר מכן, כאילו, הרגילים, מה שנקרא אנחנו, כן? נכנסים. אם כן, אז זה אומר שכגדול, ב-2028, כן? הורדות ידיים נכנס רשמית לאולימפיאדה. עכשיו, האיגוד העולמי, וואף, נמצא כרגע בשלב 3 מתוך 5, באיגוד העל, כן? שרק דרכו אתה נכנס לאולימפיאדה. עכשיו, וואף עצמו, הם חברים באיגוד, כן? באיגוד העולמי הזה, כבר 2 כמעט, כן? לקח להם 3 שנים שבחנו אותם, בדקו אותם. זה עברו 3 שלבים, כל האיגודים הרשמיים, ואנחנו גם כעמותה, כן, רשומים באיגוד העולמי, אז אנחנו גם כל אחד בזה. ובעיקרון, עכשיו השלב שמכירים בהורדת ידיים כספורט, כן? זה איגוד על שמחזיק את כל האיגודים העולמיים בעולם, למשל איגוד הג'ודו, איגוד הטניס, איגוד הזה, כולם נמצאים שם כדי להיכנס. זה הדרך היחידה. גם עם זה אתה צריך להיכנס לוואדה, שזה גוף הסימום העולמי, ויש איימס, שזה עוד גוף אחד שאתה נכנס דרכו. בקיצור, אנחנו שם, כן? אנחנו מקווים שב-2021-2022 כבר זה נכנס, כאילו זה כבר מאושר לפאראלימפי ואחרי הרגילים, אז אני יכול לומר שאני אולי בן 60, אבל כן, הספורט הזה יהיה כבר אולימפיאדה, ומישהו ממשיך דרכי, אבל כן, הוא הבוס. אבל בגדול, כן, זה יהיה ספורט אולימפי. אפשר להגיד, זה כן יהיה ספורט אולימפי. Sorry.
Yeah, there's more I can say on that. Quick picture.
Yeah, no problem. You can take it.
Okay, so...
חבר'ה, דקה ברשותכם, take a picture. You take a picture?
Yeah.
You want to make a...
Yeah.
But you want to answer first, huh?
I'll answer in a second.
No, but this is
איזה אנשים גדולים. הלאה, בלי ידיים. Thank you.
מישהו, ספוקן אז.
לא. גם ככה, גם ככה. גם מונח. חבר'ה, זה שני אגדות שנפגשים.
Follow advice to your Instagram. Please advocate. Was the big pleasure to meet you. And I believe you're going to have a good time.
Thank you so much.
спасибо. תודה לכולם.
So that's WAF. Hopefully we get there. The neat thing is about as we're moving forward, there's a lot of different federations, and the interesting thing is if the federations and the groups aren't different, one of them will die. So between IFA and WAF, hopefully they kind of start to be just a bit different. PAL and WAL. Hopefully they're different enough that they can coexist. If they're trying to do the exact same thing and they're competing, one of them will die. No matter what, if you look at our trajectory and our growth, everything is going up. I do think it's really important that we kind of keep a really open mind about the future. I think that the biggest thing that we're still not taking advantage of properly is what's in everybody's pockets. That phone. And unlocking what that phone can bring to our sport, I think, is the biggest part of the future. If you guys take a look at those straps that I gave you, you're going to see something on there. And that's a dream that I have been working on for a very long time. And hopefully this comes about. But it's ideas like this one that you're probably going to see unfold within hopefully the next 6 months that is going to just change a little bit about how people can enter the sport. Because so much of it is how do we get more athletes, more people, make it easier for people to find each other. This is important. I think things like YouTube, social media, when used properly, yeah, but these things bring more life to our sport than even a federation. When you have the ability to reach millions of people, this has more impact than even a federation. And this is the reality of what we have at our disposal now. So I think in the next 5 years, these things... Yeah.
Do you want the merge of the different associations? I mean, as fans, it's always nice to have one single organization so you can see all the possible matches. For the competitor, it's more beneficial to have different associations with competition, with competing on the athletes.
Yeah, I don't think that it's essential that we have only one. I really don't. I think that what will happen is things will unfold the way they're meant to. The more opportunity athletes have to compete, I think that this is only a good thing. The more ways we have to choose how we compete, this is also a good thing. If we limit everything and say, okay, from now on, everything dies except for one organization, this is a terrible thing. Diversity is good. It's good to have choices. It's good. And the bigger the questions become, the more inevitable it is for things to become a reality. The more people want to know who's the best, from the best guy from the WAL, the best guy from the PAL, or the best guy from IFA, the best guy from WAF, the more people want to know, the more it has to happen, right? The more it just will. Like, they'll offer more money, there'll be more reasons to make it happen.
Yeah, right, but right now we have limitations, right? You can compete like easily in any other league, right? I mean, you had to work hard to have a match with Dennis, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's not a good thing necessarily, right?
Well, I think that if it makes sense, the match will always happen. I think, for me, I have plenty of matches. And you guys see, like, I'm plenty busy. I travel all over the place. It's not inside the WL. I can do whatever I like, you know, like, it doesn't really limit you. A lot of people say, oh, these contracts are so limiting. To a certain degree they are, but I would say that they're more empowering than they are limiting. When a match has to happen, it will happen. Like, for me, like, the match between East and West will happen when it has to. Right now, I feel like the East has the title, okay? And the reason why I say that is when you go back, let's talk about the right hand. We'll talk about Michael Todd losing to Dmitry Trubin, or to Pushkar, or to Dennis, where he is probably our best representative from North America. So, for me, the title sits in the East. And when there is a champion that's ready to take that, it will happen. It will. And it's not me today. If I beat Michael, because I will be given that match most likely at some point this year. And if I become the guy from the West, I will certainly do everything in my power to bridge that. And to win. Yeah, I'll do my best.
Also, maybe with Gennady.
That's right. Yeah. So there's a pretty healthy rumor out there that Gennady Kvikvinia is coming to the WL this year.
You know Gennady?
Everybody knows Gennady. Oh my God.
גנדי קוויקיניה.
עליו מדובר, כן. הוא כנראה חותם מנוואל, הוא חותם בוואל.
Well, it's gonna happen. It's gonna sign WL.
I think so.
הוא כן.
Yeah.
Right?
So right when Gennady comes, I feel like Gennady is a very, very good representative from the East. Yeah. And we'll see. If he comes in and cleans house, then that match with Levon doesn't need to happen. Okay? But if he comes in and we beat Gennady, well then the next step.
Dave beat Gennady and you beat Dave.
That's right. That's right. But there's lots of reasons why Gennady is certainly a big addition. He's the last person, I think, to beat Levon, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have two questions.
Yeah.
What do you say about Sharon Rennes Campbell?
Yeah, I love Sharon.
Second, Underwood.
Okay, so yeah. So Sharon has got one of the most amazing hands that I've ever touched in the sport of arm wrestling. Fantastic arm wrestler. Yeah, I heard he's gonna arm wrestle Ryan Bowen. Really interesting match. Ryan's one of the best up and coming guys. So him and Sharon is really cool. I actually talked to Sharon today, and he tells me he's on a completely different level. Okay, and I actually believe him. So it'd be really, really good to see him come back. Yeah, I'm a big fan of his. I've been watching him since the 90s. And arm wrestling is one of those great sports that you can do forever. So I'm really excited by him coming back. Don Underwood's a funny guy. Great arm wrestling. guy. I feel like Don Underwood is one of those guys who's just like a walking whirlwind, you know, like everywhere he goes, his life is in chaos. And I think when it's not like that, he doesn't know what to do, and he just, you know, and he's the same way on the table. He's just this chaotic nightmare. When he's healthy, when he's focused, when, you know, his life is not so messed up that he's actually able to train consistently, he's very dangerous. We'll see. We'll see if he can come back and put things together. Don's one of these guys. He's an arm wrestler, right? He's one of these guys who's dedicated his life to the sport. So no matter what, people like this, people who are like this, are like the stock market. Okay, you know that they're in it until their termination. Okay, and sometimes they're a bit low, and sometimes they're high, right? But no matter what, they're on this trajectory. Okay, so I'm sure that he's got more spikes in the future where he's going to be excellent.
Where you said that he lost to Barbosa.
That he lost the ball.
Yeah, and will you win the ball?
Well, I think, yeah. I think Marcio is a better arm wrestler. I do. I do.
Yeah, I like it.
I think Marcio is a more dangerous, more complete arm wrestler than Don Underwood, and I would pick Marcio to win against Don normally. Normally. I think Don Underwood beating Marcio is something Don should be really happy about. And I think Marcio right now is really good.
That is right there.
Oh my God! Oh, jeez, you scared me there. You can't scare me like that. Yeah.
You know why Travis Legend stopped?
Travis is a funny guy. Travis really smart arm wrestler. He has special motivations, and if they're not met, he finds other things to do. I think Travis is like a pot of water that's sitting at like 99 degrees Celsius, like all the time, you know, just ready, just waiting. And when the opportunity strikes, he's boiling pot, ready to go for you. Yeah, right now he's not in the equation. I think that he has issues with the World Arm Wrestling League. I'm not sure. This is me speculating. I think if somebody gives him the right opportunity, he's right in the mix again. I think left hand, he's probably the most dangerous guy we have consistently in North America. Probably. Yeah. I think that I can beat him from time to time, but I think when you look at our whole history, Travis is probably the best guy in North America left hand, and he probably still is today if he really needs to be. Yeah. Right-handed, I think it's going to take a lot for him to crack that top 3 or 4 in North America. It'll be tough. The level just continues to raise. The more this sport continues to grow, the more people invest, the more people dedicate more of their lives, and the level just goes up, up, up. And if
are you ready for another round?
Yeah, let's do another round.
Yeah.
Yeah.
רוצה לעשות איתו.
מושך אותך לשם.
Me. Every piece towards me. So I'm always, when I'm in a strap, I'll show you more, but I'm always trying to get this to be more towards me. So I'm pushing forward. When it's getting tight in here, I'm gonna bend my wrist back so it runs closer to me. I want every single piece of fabric more towards me. Okay? this low. People talk high, low. I've talked to people, a few people tell me high is important. I never understand. I've never understood. Maybe I'll understand in 10 years. But to me, it's very simple. The lower the strap, the more power you have. I don't understand why you would, when you're talking about using a strap, it's used from a low position. It's just better. Now, if you want to hustle somebody, if you want to hustle them, like somebody in a bar or they don't know what they're doing, I mean, you wear this thing as a belt, you take it out, okay? Always put the buckle on your opponent's hand, okay? Buckle on your opponent's hand makes it easier to cheat. It also makes it way easier to get a massive advantage. If right now I go underneath, like 10 or 15% more for me, okay? Because that way the bottom strap comes from my arm to his hand. Okay, do it fair, go through the middle. Okay, this is symmetrical, this is fair. Okay, and then when you tighten, what's really important is that you get locked in higher. Okay, so when you start to tighten the strap, you're always lifting. Okay, see here? I'm always lifting my hand, lifting. So when it gets tight, I have everything, okay? In practice, don't do that. In practice, just fair grip. But in competition, always, I'm like this, okay? All the time, I'm creating.
Nice, you go with respect?
Back, like this. Be like this. Arm wrestling, creation, destruction. Creation, destruction. Okay? Creation, destruction. Creation, destruction. Okay? So you want to set like this. Create. Okay? So that when it's time, everything. So you get this. See, when I set here,
space to move.
Right? If they ever tighten like this, see how? Okay, so I'm setting higher. And see, another thing I do is I'm going to push down. See here? See my fingers? Push down. Okay? Doesn't matter what you're doing. It doesn't matter. You want to be deeper and higher. Any technique. Deeper. See this depth? Because if I'm trying to do inside, this depth. Depth. I lift, okay? And push. Push for depth. Push. Okay? Now you control a strap. You tighten it yourself. Okay, but all this stuff is all like, you know, you're not going to be able to do it everywhere. You do that to me. Push. Lift. You do it to me. Lift. No. Not this way. Watch. Instead of this, see this? See, I get my space by going past it. Yes. And when you do it, and your wrist back, push like this. Yes. And then go high. So you go high by supinating. So push, supinate. Supinate. No. Wrist back, and now supinate. Back. Supinate. Yes. Get better.